Exclusive. Thor and Alex Eala. The Hollywood bombshell that transforms everything. What's happening in tennis? Admirers? Welcome once again to Knoxria, your first priority. The place to find the sexiest serves, the biggest upsets, the craziest volleys, and perhaps the largest, most amazing Hollywood crossovers that the sports world has ever seen. I need you to halt your current course of action.
Right now.
Put down the phone. Explain you'll be back in a few minutes, family. Take a seat, inhale deeply, and grasp your popcorn and perhaps some water. Because of what we are going to dismantle, this is the kind of tale you really did not see coming. And then you won't be able to quit talking about it, regarding it, nor for your pals, nor for not to your grandmother, but to your coworkers. This will not protect anybody. Dialogue. Usually we discuss forehands and break points at Champions Tennis. Grand Slams are our lifeblood. Serve speeds, WTA rankings, and the drama that is exclusive to the best sports in the earth is capable of providing. However, today we're going on a little diversion. We're departing from the baseline. We're strolling beyond the net. We're leaving the court completely. And we're on our way directly onto the red carpet. Due to the fact that the Philippine Pride, the young woman who has been methodically tearing down the according to her WTA rankings, she has a personal resentment for each and every player above her. The sensation from the Rafa Nadal Academy herself. Just now, Alexandra fell a devastating announcement, and it doesn't use a different coach. It does not entail a racket transaction. It doesn't include moving to a different basis of training.
No. This is very much larger than that.
This is the crossover occurrence that we were unaware we need. And because it's here, we can't. What if there was no such thing? Hey Alexa, a particular god of thunder and Hollywood. Let's examine each and every aspect. Let's us appropriately create the scenario, since the context of this disclosure makes the whole anything considerably more dramatic. You're scanning the lustrous pages of Harper's Bazaar. You have big expectations. Fashion, perhaps a gorgeous editorial below, a few melancholy perfume advertisements, illumination, and an ultra-model gazing into the midway. Then you make a page, and your mouth drops to the ground. Because of the fact that sitting there, looking utterly bright, calm, and effortless, Alexandra Eala is iconic. Furthermore, she is not about her next competition. She isn't talking about grass versus clay. She is discussing a big-budget movie. And not only any movie, nor some independent passion project that costs $300,000. Shot in a person's backyard. We're discussing a significant issue in a sincere manner, a Hollywood production. Additionally, her co-star is Chris Hemsworth, of course. That Hemsworth, Chris. Tyler Rake, Thor from Mike Davis, Extraction, and the sleek Los, the dangerously ill diamond thief from Angelus, the critically regarded Crime 101, which was really only 2 days ago in cinemas. The individual in question, Alex Eala, the ideal decision, characterizing her as, and wait a moment, because this quotation merits be outstanding on the court, and listen slowly. And magnetic on the screen. Could we have a seat with that for a second? Hemsworth, Chris, who has given Scarlett a frame. Johansson, Natalie, and Charlize Theron, Kate Blanchett, Mark Portman, and Barry Keoghan and Ruffalo are out here. Phoning a tennis player that is 20 years old from the magnetic screen of the Philippines. He did not that she was promising. He didn't claim that she was a fantastic fit for the sports perspective. She was magnetic, he remarked. That is jargon from the A-list. That's the words of a person who has looked down the camera in enough films to be aware of precisely what is required to illuminate a screen. Alex Eala has it, he adds. That the internet has gone completely crazy.
To be honest, the same.
Now, before to our departure any farther, since I am acquainted with a few of you discovered this video via the Hemsworth sitting there in a rabbit hole. Alright, I thought. But who is Alex exactly? Why should I worry, Eala? Let me paint an image for you. Due to knowing this woman's identity and what at age 20, she has already achieved years old. Therefore this tale is around 12 even more remarkable. Eala Alexandra was born in Quezon on May 23, 2005. City, Philippines. She was raised in a household that was aware of high-level athletics. Her RIZA, The mother worked as a professional scuba diver that participated in the Southeast Asian Games. Thus, the DNA was always there. However, what I did with that DNA is a really unique item. When I was young, she packed her things and relocated as a teenager to practice at the Rafa Nadal in Spain Manicure Academy, one of the world's most renowned tennis clubs. She gained self-control, perseverance, and unwavering mental toughness on the same regarded as some of the top young talent in accordance with the theory of the best clay court player in history survived. And she fulfilled each and every pledge. She took home the 2020 Australian Open Junior Doubles Championship. In 2021, she won the Junior Roland Garros Doubles
crown.
Then, in 2022, she produced history that will last forever. She became the first person from the Philippines to win in Junior Grand Slam Championship in singles, winning the Junior Championship at the US Open in a split second, a whole country crying with happiness. Hashtags were popular for days. In Manila, watch parties broke out. The Quezon City girl had defeated the global arena, and she had just started. However, this is what distinguishes the outstanding young athletes from the legends: the capacity to impart such skill to the harsh, merciless, and harsh professional tennis world. The Pro Tour is a whole other animal. It spits out junior stars after consuming them.
Out.
The planning, the journey, the pressure, the necessary consistency, people are broken. However, Eala didn't take a break. She ascended steadily and gently, methodically. She ascended the WTA rankings. She accumulated ITF titles. She began to make sounds at larger gatherings. She began to beat. She had no business defeating these players. Her degree of experience. Next, 2025 occurred, and everything blew out. At the 2025 Miami Open, playing like a crazy card, and was rated 140th. She defeated prior to Madison Keys. Jelena Ostapenko was a Grand Slam victor, followed by Iga Swiatek, the number 2 player in the world and one of the most powerful athletes in women's history of tennis. From one back to the other, she was the very first Filipino to make it to the WTA 1000 semifinals. She went on to make it to her first WTA circuit final at Eastbourne before taking home her maiden WTA 125 victory. Guadalajara title. She turned into the first player from the Philippines to win a Grand Main Draw Slam singles match. Leveled the loss at the US Open Clareton. She was ranked in 2025 number 50 in the world, reaching a professional peak at the moment. The year 2026 then came, and she is not even a moment's slowdown.
She
made it to the Auckland semifinals. Both singles and doubles are open. She took part in her first Australian Open competition. Primary attraction. She participated in the first domestic Philippine Women's Open and in front of her folks. For a minute, so it hardly looked emotionally charged. Actual. She advanced to the round of 4 of the WTA 500 tournament, the Abu Dhabi Open, where the second took her down. Ekaterina Alexandrova as a seed only after making a spectacular recovery from nothing to a 4-point loss in the last set. That the marathon in Abu Dhabi forced her to a career-high 45th place ranking. The activity in Hollywood has been changing. Nowadays, audiences want actual physical their leader's performance, not merely all the labor is done by stunt doubles. A may perform taut actions on the screen. Actors are just not able to duplicate. If this is an adventure action movie in which the athletic ability of the character is crucial. To the scheme, a soldier, a spy, you have something, survivor. Really distinct. Hempworth in action mode with a co-star capable of maintain your physical fitness. That would be anything to observe. Third theory, and this one is the most outrageous. It's a science fiction project. Hemsworth possesses an untitled project for Apple Original Films Connected, characterized as a high-octane adventure, mystery, and science fiction centered on a John Tropper's short narrative. The storyline is kept secret. He is the only disclosed cast member. Might I be the second? Is this the project? A Hemsworth in a science fiction adventure as the lead, with Eala serving as an essential co-star, would be just the kind of unexpected, very revolutionary work of casting that has the potential to transform both their careers in a different way. Eala as a figure from a different culture, another globe, negotiating exceptional situations in addition to Hemsworth. The possibilities are endless. Whatever it is, the fact that the term breakthrough was used informs us that it is not a secure traditional project. It's a swing. It is a daring, imaginative decision. And audacious, imaginative decisions, when they land, become iconic. Let's face the truth about the depiction of this narrative, because it merits a separate period of sincere gratitude before we return on to the enjoyable parts. For a young Filipino woman to play the lead in a big Hollywood production in addition to one of the most well-known figures in international film include not only a professional achievement. It's an earthquake of culture. The diaspora, is vast. More than 10 million Filipinos are employed and reside outside of Philippines, dispersed across the United Nations, Europe, Asia, the Middle East, as well as Australia. Additionally, the community is renowned for its fierceness, with joyous pride. You saw what took place last time Eala defeated IGA Swiatek in Miami year. When she won, you saw what transpired. The Junior US Open. The pride, the feeling, the solidarity. It's something that goes beyond athletics. It becomes a national moment. Imagine that energy being focused now. At a cinema. Consider families across the diaspora of Filipinos purchasing tickets many times, not just once. Consider the neighborhood watch parties, the hashtags, the cosplay at premieres, the popular subjects. The creators of this, in essence, movies have opened a built-in, fervently enthusiastic audience, something Hollywood seldom ever has access to straight. Include the World Tennis Group that has been observing Eala's rising with increasing interest. And then include the massive fan following that from Thor, Chris Hemsworth delivers extrapolation from all areas of the MCU cosmos. These are all three of them. Various audience demographics. And the movie will be seen by everyone. At the same time, from an exclusively commercial viewpoint, this is a brilliant move. As far as culture is concerned, it is really touching. Has previously talked about the burden of representing her nation. During interviews, she has described the stress of being aware that with millions of viewers, that her triumphs and setbacks have national importance. She's carried that weight with exceptional elegance for an individual who is just 20 years old. And now the weight is being converted into anything that may present the Philippines to viewers who have never considered the nation, who tripped, having never seen a WTA match. Enter this movie via the Hemsworth come out on the other side of the rabbit hole. With a fresh hero. That is the strength of narrative. That's what this movie, it could do whatever it turns out to be. Let's now discuss the elephant in the space. The query that all a dedicated tennis enthusiast is unquestionably pondering at the moment. Will this damage her ability to play? Has she switched her racket? For a screenplay, even for a short time, heading there cost her in court? It's an entirely legitimate worry, and it merits a well-considered response. Initially, the logistics. Large-scale motion picture projects may take between 3 to 6 months to shot based on the scale. Nevertheless, they are seldom captured in a single, uninterrupted block. Weather and schedule conflicts pick up days, reshoots, and delays. Sportsmen have overseen movie careers in tandem with previous active sporting careers. However, to be honest, tennis is perhaps the most unrelenting schedule at the workplace athletics. Players compete for 11 months of the year in many continents with hardly any real offs. It's cruel. It requires a year of optimal physical condition. Circular. Therefore, a film commitment must be slowly slid in. However, this is what we are especially aware of Eala. She is careful. In a sense, she is disciplined, because the majority of 20-year-olds just aren't. She moved away from her family and into another nation as a youngster to follow a dream. She has been in charge of an international career in the workplace since she was a teenager. She has been balancing media obligations, sponsorships, and appearances in public with her own judicial schedule for several years. If anyone is capable of organizing and the mental toughness to handle both a movie project and a career in tennis at the same time, it's her. Furthermore, let's not ignore the president. Osaka, Naomi, has a producing business. She is a film producer, as well as films throughout training and competing. fashion is what Coco Gauff does. Advertisements, general television appearances, as well as trademark agreements that would wear down a marketing executive on a full-time basis. Campaigns for Emma Raducanu's advertising in the off-season just after taking home the U.S. Open title. The Elite of Today athlete is a multifaceted brand that does more than a rival. Eala is just accepting that to its most striking and logical in conclusion. Furthermore, this increases her profile in a manner that is advantageous to her career in tennis. Improved sponsorships imply further materials. Increased exposure translates into greater possibilities. An elevated worldwide profile indicates that more people are observing her. Matches. Yes, there is more pressure, but more inspiration, fuel, and logic to be outstanding. A doesn't hit anybody who has pursued her profession as someone who breaks under duress. She is someone who stands up to it. The admirer responses to this information have been certainly a breathtaking display in its independently. Social media has been used for fire. Allow me to introduce you to the major camps. First camp, the Filipino supporters, and they are the most boisterous, arrogant, and most group that is emotionally engaged in the whole discussion. World of Alex Eala in a matter of hours. Dominance became popular. Of the Harper's strange narratives. Accounts of fans that often post matches videos and rankings were abruptly resharing film news and creating fan-made posters, creating sentimental posts regarding the significance of this occasion for Filipinos' representation in international entertainment. One tweet with a straightforward text from Hollywood to Manicourt. My heart has been tweeted hundreds of thousands of periods. There is a really overpowering emotional reaction taking place in that community, and it's lovely to observe her. The tennis purists at Camp 2. These are people that are very backed Eala's ascent in the WTA ranks and are a little concerned that anything might cause disruptions. The momentum she has created. They observed she dropped from 140th to 40th place in the globe in less than a year. They understand how fragile that type of momentum is. May be. They are aware of how swiftly the trip might penalize a momentary lack of concentration. Their concern is legitimate and comprehensible. Additionally, let's take a minute to consider the larger the story falls inside a trend, because it's a significant one. The distinction between both mainstream and elite athletes, a well-known figure in entertainment, has been years of dissolution, yet it is disintegrating more quickly today than ever earlier period in history. Social media altered everything. Nowadays, athletes are content producers by default. Their individuals, their lifestyles, and their fashion preferences, their connections, it's all apparent. It's all brand. Material, regardless of whether that is their intention or not. The most accomplished sportsman of this generation is aware of this and embraced it, creating multimedia empires that are significantly larger than their athletics. However, Eala's actions are distinct from publishing sponsored material or attending a Fashion Week event row. She's not even dabbling in amusement. Her head is sinking in. Initially, co-starring in a big-budget movie image featuring one of the highest-paid actors worldwide. That's a real dedication to one's craft and career. It needs to be vulnerable. It needs picking up a brand new skill. It has to appear in a movie every day, without any assurance of victory in a sector that is equally competitive and harsh as professional tennis. The bravery of that making a choice is very amazing when you give it careful thought. Additionally, she is doing at a point in her tennis career when has never shown more promise. She is 40th place in the globe. She had just arrived at her first main draw in the Australian Open. She is currently performing in Dubai. She smashes in front of her. She possesses a real chance to make the top 20 prior to the height of her career. The cautious, secure, and strategically keeping her would be a wise decision. Keep your head down, concentrate on the tennis, and keep the entertainment endeavors for later. Eala, however, has never been the conservative decision. She defeated IGTCH as a wild card. Spain was her new home as a teenager. A Sampita flower was worn by her in her hair during Wimbledon. She doesn't secure. She performs outstanding. Can we also just enjoy, really appreciate what this movie stands in for Asian women in Hollywood? Since the discussion regarding representation in movies has been continuing for years, and advancements have been gradual but genuine. Rich Asians Crazy was a turning point. Everything is all over. Suddenly altered people's perceptions was feasible for movies starring Asians. But a Filipino lady who co-stars in a big drama or action movie in addition to a Western that door, which is an A-list star, has not yet completely opened. If this movie pieces and the amalgamation of Hemsworth's Eala's genuine narrative and brand strength provides it every opportunity to succeed, it turns into a model. It turns into evidence. It turns into what a producer points out to when someone pitches them in 5 years. A production with a main Asian woman and concludes, yes, that's a good idea. Eala demonstrated how this works. That's heritage. That has an effect that extends beyond a rating, that goes beyond a title and any one tennis outcome. That's the kind of a lasting cultural impact decades. Where does all of this leave us? We should take it home, as we have covered a great deal of territory today, and I would want to ensure that you are leaving with the whole image. At the moment, Alex Eala is 40th place in the world. The greatest Filipinos are rated first in WTA history. She is actively taking part in the trip, correct?
Right now.
She is now in Dubai in February 15th, preparing to take on Haley Christian in what seems to be an intriguing first-round contest. She just comes from an Abu Dhabi quarterfinal run, where she performed at one of the biggest spectacular efforts at a comeback in the early season of 2026. She's grounded, she's concentrating, and she's doing some of the finest tennis she's ever played. And at the same time, she will soon become a movie star. She disclosed in a historic Harper's Curious interview that she will feature in a big-budget movie. In addition to Chris Hemsworth, a guy who is currently riding the Crime 101 wave, getting ready to play Thor again in Avengers, filming Subversion, Doomsday, and just enrolled in Cockroach. A guy with referred to be one of the most Hollywood's bankable stars. A guy who referred to Alex Eala as fascinating and bright, and declared her to be the ideal option. Regardless of the genre, action, drama, genre-defying combination of science fiction, and it contains the components of all three, something very unique. The God of Thunder and the Filipina Ace. It sounds like a graphics title, book, a fever dreams concept, or the most creative casting choice in the history of crossovers in movies. However, it is genuine. It is taking place, and we'll all be there when it comes. The young woman who won the Junior US Open on the most prestigious tennis stage, who defeated the second-ranked player in the world as a wild card, who took the hopes of her country with her shoulders since she was so little sufficient to operate a vehicle, will now carry them on a screen for a movie. Additionally, something assures me that she will destroy it above as well. I'd want to hear it all. You consider this. I'd want your craziest hypotheses in the comments section, correct?
Right now.
What kind of film do you think it is? What is this? A espionage thriller with action in which Eala performs as a tennis prodigy who receives hired by a secret intelligence agency. Where they are survival drama stuck in a place with nothing but Ella's athletic instincts and its cunning. She is a fighter in a science fiction adventure. From a society where life is decided by sport and demise. Is it a nasty crime instead? Thriller similar to Crime 101, in which the universe of shadows and Hemsworth crossings into the disciplined world of Eala and accuracy? Share your theories in the comments section below. I really want to read each and every one of them, and I will emphasize the top ones in my next video. Don't be feeling shy. Tell me too. Are you concerned that this will keep her off the court too long? Or do you share my viewpoint? That Alexa is one of the few people who are able to do both tasks simultaneously and both brilliantly, due to the fact that the proof of her life indicates that when you mention to Alex Eala that something could also, she uses it as fuel, hard. If this video provided you with something to ponder, whether it delighted you, if it filled you with pride, if it prompted you to rush to watch Eala's highlights from the previous year in Miami, please demolish that like for me button. In the same manner that Eala crushes a winner of the forehand when she is leading 5-4 and providing for the set. Click subscribe. Then press the alert button, because every tale is told at Eagle Line Golf. Such as when something lands first, and you don't want to be the last to find out when the next shocking revelation. This has been Noxria. I'll see you on Yes. I will meet you at the court, at the cinema,